Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Living a Graceful Life. I'm Tracy Gelb. So excited to have my guest, Lana Gelb, who also happens to be my mother. And we're going to talk this evening about the Blue Zones. And the Blue Zones is an incredible group of 5 locations, which is all about wellness and health and longevity. So I'm going to ask you, Lana, tell me about the Blue Zones and when you found out about them.
Thank you, Tracy. I've been really fascinated with the Blue Zones for, I'm going to say, about 15 years. They came into context about 20 years ago with Dan Buettner, who was the major person who went to all these different places in the world and looked at how certain areas or certain areas of countries had these long living people and the longest living people in the world in terms of the population. I mean, obviously there's comparisons. So what he found in his journey for National Geographic was what he was working for. And they did this project, and they actually found five different areas in 5 different countries that had the longest lived, that's what they call it, the longest lived or longest living people in the world. These people were 90, 95, 100, 105, up to 113, I think. And the thing about them was they were not frail and decrepit. They were very, very sharp cognitively and physically fit, all of them. So they started to study what is going on there. Why are these people so long living when many other countries people are really, frail and failing in their 70s and their 60s and their 80s? So that's really fascinated me. 15 years ago, I just thought that this was an amazing concept.
It is. It is. It's wonderful. And there's something called the Power Nine that
Yes,
they have. So let's talk a little bit about that. Maybe say like 3 of them and a little bit about, and then we'll go further from with that.
absolutely. So Power Nine is 9 aspects of lifestyle that they all have in common. I mean, give or take, it's slightly different, but it's really very much a common thread of these demographics. And let's do my favorite one first, which is organic movement. Nobody there goes to the gym. They don't pump iron. They don't run a marathon. They don't do Zumba or yoga for that matter. Although I think Loma Linda is starting to do yoga classes. But they do organic movement. What does that mean? That means that they climb up hills every day to go to the grocery store that might be at the top of the hill, or the grocery store is at the bottom of the hill, and they climb down to get to the grocery store from their home that's on the top of the hill. They will be climbing and gardening and doing things like picking fruit, picking stuff, doing a lot of work with the food, planting, doing things that are movement oriented. They do a lot of walking, as opposed to our culture where they don't have the kind of Publix and CVS and places like that. They have people who are medicine women in their communities, for example. So they'll go foraging in the forest to look for different beans and different things that they want to cook with.
So that's another thing. How do they eat? What kind of food do they eat?
Well, let's go to that one. The second one that of the Power Nine, and they're not in any order, is the plant slant, or as I say, the plant slant. So they are very much plant-based, all of them. Do they have meat? Yes, they do. Very occasionally. It's not an everyday thing. It's not even an every week thing, but sometimes they have meat once a week or once every 10 days. And it's this big. It's 4 ounces. And they also have it sometimes as a celebration. If there's some kind of event in the family, a wedding, a birthday, an engagement, stuff like that, that's when they'll have the meat. They do have fish. It's very Mediterranean diet based in a way. They like to have fava beans and all kinds of beans and lentils and things like that. But all of it is homegrown, so it's all organic. They don't spray, they don't have anything like that there. And they have a very healthy eating, and I'm going to go to the third one, which is called the 80% rule. And the 80% rule is fascinating to me because it comes from a concept or a mantra, if you will, from Confucius. And that happened in Okinawa because Confucius is part of their culture. And Confucius, he say that when you are having your food, which they do in the late afternoon is their big meal, or later in the day, or early evening. They don't sit on their food. They have things to do after that, so they do different activities and kind of work off the meal in a way. They keep their metabolisms going. So what they do is they stop eating when they feel 80% full. So they've come to, this is part of the culture, specifically in Okinawa, which is one of the 5 areas. It's an island, and in Japan. And it's become a lifestyle for these people, but naturally, without having Confucius and the mantra, the others do the same thing. They don't stuff themselves. They just eat a sufficiency till they're satiated to some degree, not full and lethargic and then sit for a while and then go to sleep.
So tell me about the places where the blue zones are.
So I've mentioned Okinawa in Japan. There's also a place in Sardinia, which is an island of Italy. There's Ikaria in Greece. So it's it's not an island, but it's part of Greece, and it's also on the water. As is the place in Sardinia is in the mountains. Okinawa, of course, has the ocean as well. And then there is, in Costa Rica, there's a place called Nicoya. It's a beautiful part of Costa Rica, and it's also on the water. And then finally, it's Loma Linda. Loma Linda is in the United States, and it's in California, and it's a Seventh-day Adventist group. So they have a slightly different slant because of their religion and their faith. And one of the things they don't do that the others do is number 4. It is red wine. The all those communities like to have wine, but really very moderately. It's a moderate thing. So what they generally do throughout the other four communities is they have one glass for women and two maximum for men. What they have found, interestingly enough, is that the studies have shown, and I knew this before the blue zones, that when you have one or two glasses of red wine with the resveratrol and the great antioxidants that it affords, the research shows that it's actually more health giving to have that than to not have it. So
that's interesting. I think it's interesting, and it's also, you know, learning about the blue zones, which I have the last couple of years. I'm learning so much about wellness and so much about longevity and living, not just a life of longevity, but a healthy life of longevity. Would you say, what do you think? Because I think it's very possible for anywhere. I mean, I know they're recently starting to certify blue zones, but don't you think anywhere can be a blue zone?
Well, you know, they are going through the United States right now, and they are certifying blue zones, and it takes 5 years or more for them to really examine what's going on in the communities. Yes, do I think any community or any demographic can do it? Absolutely. But this is a natural way of life.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the way that we live in this community, in this country, in most of the states, we live a very unnatural way of life. And we are bombarded with many, many things that in some way really alter our health. And people are not encouraged by all the TV and the commercials and just the whole internet and the social media. They're not encouraged to really have a healthy life. There's so many other things, and of course they're just sedentary watching all of this. And these people are not sedentary. They don't take the closest parking to the store. You know, they walk. They walk. Yeah. They all walk. Some of them have bicycles too. So they have a little, you know, different way of doing it sometimes. But it's, I do think it's possible. I just think, you know, I know that Naples, Florida is a blue zone now, and took them 5 years. I've spoken to them, and they said it was a very difficult process, a challenging process to be officially acclaimed as a blue zone, because there are only a few others in the United States. I forget exactly where they are, but I was very impressed that we had one an hour away from us.
Yeah, it is. It's wonderful. And one of the things that's so interesting to me is in the blue zones, in the original 5, there are no assisted livings, memory cares, senior facilities, so to speak. And that's to do with family.
Yes. Well, that's to do with a system and a society where they really treasure everyone in the family, whether you're young, whether you're old, you're special if you're in that family. And in fact, in Okinawa, they have something called ekungai, which is they make pledges in this community in Okinawa. It's a special area where they choose 5 people when they're very, very young and make a pledge to have them as friends for life. And those are their friends for life. And it's fascinating to me that they do that as an actual ceremony.
Wow.
How special. And they keep to it, and they're loyal to it, and they very much respect their elderly. They very much take care of the children. And the elderly people do take care of the children, and then the ones in between take care of the elderly if need be.
Yeah.
So it's a system that is so smart and so organic and just works. It
Yeah.
obviously works. It's been studied for 20 years and they keep studying it more and more.
And I think the thing with the family, it leads into the purpose. Because
Yeah.
they have purpose. It gives them purpose, whatever the situation is. And I think that one of the, I would say, top three for me in life is to have a purpose, to know what it is, or figure out what it is, or find what it is. And these people have that almost organically. That's what they have as they are the people that go to the grocery store, or the person that's taking care of the kids, or the person that's baking bread for the community. So I'm a huge fan of purpose. And
Yes.
I think that that's something that's beautiful. It's a beautiful, wonderful hope and prayer that, to find something like this, only 20 years, but to know that it exists and it's growing. And, I'm believing more and more that there are people that are understanding how important it is, myself included, to really take care of our health. It's everything. Nothing else is important, is more important, obviously, but when we don't have the health that we need, it's everything else is not working for us.
Right. Well, that's true. In Costa Rica, they have something called Plan de Vida, which is the plan of life. And that's the purpose, that life is about purpose. We all have a purpose, or we all should have a purpose, whatever it is, whether you're volunteering, whether you're, taking care of specific dogs, like a dog walker, or, a cat sitter, like my friend Julie is. Just different things that people have that give them purpose in life. And the research has shown that people with purpose in life have a 7-year longer lifespan.
That's amazing. So that's, if you think about how long the general people in the blue zone live, they just keep getting layers of years added on, obviously by the food and by the things that they put in their body, their purpose and their family. And for 4 of them, the red wine. But it's not only just the red wine, it's the sense of community. They have gatherings and hang out together and do all kinds of fun things, and they have a little meal together with the rest of the community. It's so important, the socialization and the friendship. And what are some of the others?
Well, there's continuing what you're saying, there's something called downshift, which is they have ways to protect them from stress. They manage their stress. And that adds years to your life for sure, because we know stress kills through inflammation and through the heart. This is, common knowledge, and it's been very well researched. And what they do is, some of them, like Okinawans, for example, and the Greek, the Ikari as well, they have little ceremonies recalling their ancestors. And that gives them peace. It gives them quiet. And it's just something that is very sacred to them. And they do that on a regular basis to relax and to just kind of chill. Others go, others take a nap. They have a siesta. Every day they have a siesta for an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever. And they can switch off from any kind of stress that there may be there. Although I have to think there's not much from what I can tell.
No, I don't think there is much. I mean, from everything I've heard from you and researched myself, and I know one that's a very big one there is faith.
Yes, faith is a biggie. Now, the interesting thing is they all have faith. And they found that even if you go to a church or a temple, once every 2 weeks, it adds 4 years to your life. So there's another addition. So far, we've got 11 that we know of, years that they have got over us, and unless you are a faith-based person. But all of them, and of course, the Seventh-day Adventists is a faith-based community. And if anybody saw the wonderful Netflix documentary on the Blue Zones, you know that Loma Linda, being in California, which is such a progressive in the sense of, you know, forward-looking state, they're just starting to do different kinds of exercise form here because they have that. They don't have the Tai Chi or whatever, you know, they have in Okinawa that is natural in that way. It's more suburban, not suburban, but it's more sophisticated in a sense, even though it is a religious sect. But they do the Friends at 5, not Loma Linda, but the others have something called Friends at 5. And they also pick their tribe. You know, they have people around them that are serving them well, that are positive, that are lifelong friends, that are family that they love, and spend time, a lot of time socializing and a lot of time with family and friends, and have the wine at 5 as well as the friends, just little gatherings, coffee clutches, or having a cup of tea in Okinawa, some green tea or some kind of tea that they have there to just chill and soothe them. And I think we've gone through all of them at this point. And what I'd like to do, if I may, is talk a little bit about the Blue Mind, because that's another program I've been fascinated with. It's been around for 10 years. And the theory is that it's when we are in water, which is the blue mind, as opposed to red mind, which is the stress mind, we are in calm, we're in sync with nature, we're harmonizing, we're peaceful. And so we become how the person who, Dr. Wallace Nichols, who really developed this notion. He's an environmentalist, a doctor of all kinds of different things. He's very well qualified, and his passion was sea turtles, to save them because they were becoming extinct. And through that, he was working in the Sea of Cortez, and he started really realizing how incredible water was and how very important it is for us. And it's, you know, it's life-giving. When we're in this meditative state of water, we can be what he calls in it, under it, surrounded by it, looking at it, feeling it anytime. And it could just be your faucet in your kitchen, or it can be having a fish tank with water, or even these TV like programs where it's like artificial fish, but you're seeing the water, and it's hypnotic because it gives you the negative ions of water, which is very, very healing. Waterfalls, lakes, rivers, oceans, being on a boat, taking a ride, being, you know, just putting your feet in the water and going sometimes to the ocean and just walking there. It's extremely health giving to everybody. So I highly recommend that people take a look at the Blue Mind theory, because it's fascinating. even he says, take a bath, just look at a lake, because there's lakes all over wherever we live, or a river. It reduces stress, and not only that, it boosts creativity. It has so many advantages. So it helps cognition, which is what I was fascinated about. It stimulates neurotransmitters of dopamine. Of course, it makes you feel good. It's a feel-good hormone, or serotonin, which makes you happy. Or it reduces cortisol, reduces that hormone, as opposed to the others being increased that we want. We don't want an excess of cortisol. We're talking about stress here, and the lack of it in these blue zones. And the blue mind helps with that. Even the color blue has been studied so vigorously. It's a color that it symbolizes serenity, inspiration, and wisdom. And I read that even Mother Mary is often depicted in blue clothing, because of her wisdom and because of her grace. And as this program is called Living a Graceful Life, I think it's important to know little details like that, because of course she was divinely favored, and we all want to be divinely favored. So go into your bath, your shower, drink water. We are 70% water. Our planet is 70% water. It's getting, according to Dr. Wallace, hotter and hotter, and then more rain in some places and less rain in other places. And we're having a climate calamity. But if we were more cognizant and aware and conscious of wasting water, or not drinking water, being in a dehydrated state, that is just so not life enhancing. And so I just wanted to mention about the blue mind.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. And I think one of the wonderful things that we can do in this world is that we're so gifted and blessed to be able to do, is to learn, is to study, is to read, is to watch videos, is to watch Netflix shows, is to speak with each other. And this expands our mind. This expands our blue mind. This expands our beautiful mind to, I want to, I'm a sponge. I just want to learn everything, so that, some parts in my life have been troublesome. And now I choose to make sure that this part of my life is wonderful. And, the learning that I'm having, I'm studying everything from a 40-year-old functional doctor to an 82-year-old woman who cured 5 of her illnesses through raw living food. And I'm learning, and we get to do that. I highly encourage everybody to watch the episode on Netflix about the blue zones, because it's really life-changing. And to be able to understand that we really are the author of our book. We're the author of our health. We're the conductor and of our own, orchestra. And for me, it's been this last, I would say 2 years has been so life-changing, because I know that God is showing me things that, I'm sure he showed me many things, but now I'm really watching and listening and learning. And I know when I go to the facilities, unfortunately, the assisted livings and memory cares, I say to myself, and God bless these people, and but I know what I need to do. And I'm so grateful every day when I see you hopping around, skipping around, and, just nourishing your body and your mind. There's nothing better. And that's why you have the health that you have. That's why we have the health that we have. And it's just a blessing. And the more that we understand and get to learn, the better for us and the better for the universe, everybody. If you learn a little bit and share with your family and share with your friends, think about how wonderful that is. And any last words, anything you would like to close with?
Do all the reading, do all the Netflix and the webinars, but take the action when you hear something. Do one thing differently to change your life from all that information.
I agree. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate you letting me interview you, Lana Gelb.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate you so much and love you
Thank
so
you.
much.
I love you too.